I have been making customs since I started my channel back in 2019. Some of them were pretty good, others could have been better. However, the customs that have gotten the most attention over the years are definitely the scratch-built ones. While I've shown a lot of videos of how I made them, I have gotten a handful of requests to show off every custom scratch-built engine that I've done. So that's what we'll be doing in this video. I will be showcasing every custom scratch-built engine I have made from 2023 all the way into 2024. Now, before we begin, I must go over some things. Number 1, I will not be going over any custom destinations I have built over the years, like my custom Vickerstown and custom Steamworks. Those will be covered in a different video. Number 2, any engines that have been built on top of a chassis, such as Bill and Ben, will also not be covered in this video. This is purely for the 100% scratch-built engines. I hope you enjoy, everybody. Let's start with Neville. Neville was actually the very first one I did back in the summer of 2023. The reason being is just I didn't want to pay for overpriced merch. Besides, I think my Neville looks a lot better than the official Thomas Wooden Railway one, at least in my opinion. I made him a lot taller than the other engines, which is a little bit more accurate, in my opinion. I also painted the rims on his wheels gray. The face is pulled straight from the TV series. Nothing much to say about it, just printed it, cut it out, and stuck it on. I love how Neville turned out, and I think I did pretty good for a first attempt. Definitely one of my best customs. Fergus. This is actually my own design, because, well, this may sound harsh, but the official Thomas Wooden Railway Fergus, it's ugly. There's no other way to put it. It's ugly. And I absolutely love how my Fergus turns out. He looks so much better, in my opinion at least. And he looks a lot more accurate to the TV series. His face is pulled straight off of his Trains model. You know, Trains Simulator 2019, whatever. You know, that thing. That's where his face is from. Again, Fergus is also one of my best. And I love how he turned out. And I'm really looking forward to making more like this in the future. Murdoch. Like Neville, I didn't really want to pay for overpriced Thomas Wooden Railway, so I just made my own. Plus, the color on the Thomas Wooden Railway model, it's a bit too dark for me. It's more brown than orange, so I decided to paint Murdoch in a much lighter color. Other than that, there's nothing much to it. I just based the rest off of the Wooden Railway model, and yeah, that's basically it. The face, like Fergus, is pulled off of a Trains model of Murdoch. No model in particular, just one for the game, but I think it looks pretty good. Again, Murdoch is probably one of my favorites, and I love how he turned out. Arthur. Arthur has been one that I wanted to do for a while since I did Neville. However, there are some flaws with him. I made him a bit too tall, and that makes it a problem when he goes into tunnels and such. However, I do like the red I picked out for him, and the rest is just based off of the Wooden Railway model. I would like to redo the face in the future because to me it's a little creepy, and as you can see I put it on a little off-center, so it's a little wonky. But yeah, other than that, I still really like how he turned out. Alfred. Out of all the scratch-built models I've done, Alfred is probably my most favorite. This is mainly due to it was my own design, and I really loved putting him together. I made a video of how I did the whole thing. If you want to go watch it, I'll put a link in the description. But also, it's Alfred. Come on. You just gotta love Alfred. You know, it's Alfred. Come on. His face is literally the one on the Trains model. That's it. There's nothing more to say about the face. Just super simple. Yeah, again, Alfred is probably my favorite model I've ever done, and I love how he looks compared to the others. 87546 or Croven. This one was a little difficult because there's a lot of variations of Croven, but in the end I decided to base him off of the B17 version. I might repaint him in the future, but that's just because the blue is just a little too dark for me. But other than that, I really like how he looks, and I think he bears the resemblance of a B17 very well. He currently has a Henry face, and I don't think I'll change it. I really like it. Even though Croven was one of the more complicated ones, I really love how he turned out. Ginty. Like Alfred, Ginty is probably in my top 3 of the most favorites I've ever done. Even though he's my favorite, he was probably the most difficult to make. I don't know if I was out of it that day or if it's because of all the details he has, but I'm being serious. He was by far the most difficult to make. His face was designed by the one and only Trampy, and I really love it. I love how it looks like the Railway Series picture. Ginty was a lot harder than the others, but I still love him. He's definitely one of my favorites. Wilbert. Now the reason I made Wilbert is, like Murdoch and Fergus, the wooden railway model doesn't really do it for me. I feel like the blue was just a bit too dark and his bunker was really low for some reason. It just didn't really look the part. So I decided to make a better one, in my opinion. I chose out a lighter blue and made his bunker a lot higher, and I think it looks a lot better. His face is pulled straight from a picture in the Railway Series. I just modified it so he's looking forward. Nothing much to say about that. What can I say? I like Wilbert. Definitely a more simple one, but a great one nonetheless. 16. There is not a lot to say about 16. He's literally Wilbert just recolored. However, there is something that you guys probably wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't told you. I actually used 2 different shades of red to paint him. One lighter and one darker. If you take a closer look, you'll definitely notice. This is because I just wanted to make him seem a lot dirtier in some parts and make him really look more industrial. His face is a printed, modified Ertl face. Of course, modified to make it so he's looking forward instead of looking off into the abyss. Nothing much else to say about 16. He's literally Wilbert just recolored, but still, I love how he turned out. Merlin. Merlin's actually the first CGI character I've ever made, which is pretty cool, and I love how he turned out. I decided to remove his number from his cab because it didn't really make sense to me why he has his number on his cab and his tender. It just didn't seem right to me, so I only put on his tender. But there's a lot of great details in here that I really love, and I love how I made his 3 funnels. I can't necessarily remember where I got the face from. I just know it came from some sort of sprite on the internet. But other than that, I love how Merlin turned out, and I cannot wait to use him in a future video. Cedric. Now, this is an original character of mine I made back in the spring of 2024. He is, of course, if you couldn't already notice, a Great Western 9400 class, which is why he bears some resemblance to Duck. And I'm not going to go too much into detail of who he is or where he comes from, but I just really like how he turned out. His face is a modified Edward face designed by me, with just some downward facing eyebrows, more of a devious look. I like how he turned out. It makes for good practice when you decide to make all kinds of different engines. Barry. As of today, Barry is the most recent one I've done. And he is also probably in the top 3 favorites. I just love how he turned out. I wanted to make his main body kind of resemble Jane's in a way, but his tender was 100% my own design, and I love it so freaking much. His face is the one from the Trains model. Nothing much to say about that. But yeah, I love how Barry turned out, and I cannot wait to use him in a future video. Skarloey. Okay, this may sound harsh, but Skarloey's actually the least favorite one I've done. This is due to the fact that I was rushed to complete him, and he didn't really turn out the way I wanted him to. As you can see, he kind of leans back a bit, and I just don't like that. The detail's fine. I'm glad of how much detail I gave him. I would like to redo the face sometime because it's a bit too small here and there. But regardless of what I think, if Skarloey's your favorite model that I've done, that's fine. I respect that. Sir Handel. Alright, contrary to Skarloey, I really love how Sir Handel turned out. I think the details and colors are spot on. Except the number 3, I would like to redo the number 3 in the future. It's a little wonky, but other than that, I still love him. His face is pulled from the TV series. There's nothing else to say about it, and I love it. Sir Handel is probably my most favorite I've done out of the narrow gauge engines, and it really shows. Peter Sam. Like Skarloey, I was rushed to finish him and he didn't really turn out all that good. His proportions are a little strange and he doesn't really run that good for some reason. I really have no idea why. However, I really do like the colors and the details, and I really like how his smoke box and funnel turned out. Like Sir Handel, his face is pulled straight from the TV series. Nothing else to say about that. Peter Sam is definitely better than Skarloey, but I will probably redo him in the future. And finally, Duke. Out of every steam engine, Duke was probably the easiest. I think it's because of the fact that his design was so simple that it just happened. I knew what I was doing for once. And I love how Duke turned out. I love his colors and I love his details. And he runs really well compared to the other ones. Again, his face is pulled from the TV series, and I really love the look it gives. Duke is probably one of my best and another one of my favorites. I mean, it's Duke, man, come on. And that was all the scratch build steam engines. Now, let's move on to the diesels. Let's kick off the diesels with Bear. Bear was actually the first scratch-built diesel I ever made, and I think I pulled it off perfectly. He was made back in the summer of 2023, shortly after Neville and Fergus. It's my own design, and I love it so much. The face was designed by me. I wanted it to look like how he looks in the Railway series, and I think I did pretty good. But other than that, there's not really much left to say about Bear. I still love how he turned out though. The Works diesel. This one was a little difficult because in the Railway series, it's never really specified what kind of class of engine he is. However, he does bear a lot of resemblance to a Class 47. Again, this is my own design, and I think it turned out really good. His number is never shown in the Railway series, so I just went with 47301. As you've probably guessed, his face is directly from the Railway series, and I love it. And with that, there's not much else to say. However, I still love the Works diesel. Philip. Philip is by far the smallest scratch-built engine I've ever done. Nothing special here. I just wanted to base him off of his official Thomas Wooden Railway model. And remember when I said Merlin was the first CGI engine I built? Yeah, I forgot that Philip was actually the first one. My bad on that one. But even so, I still love how Philip turned out. His face is from a promo picture of his character online. Nothing much to say about that. Again, I love how Philip turned out. And it keeps me from paying a lot for a tiny block of wood. D261. Yeah, there's a lot of flaws with this one. I like how he turned out. It's just, he's a bit too tall, and the details, that doesn't really do it for me. I wanted to base him off of his official Thomas Wooden Railway model, but I will probably redo him in the future just to make it look a little bit better. However, I do really love the face I gave him. It's pulled from the TV series. Not much else to say. other than that, nothing much else to say. D199. He's the same design as D261, with the exceptions of his face, paint, and detail. I wanted to base D199 off of his Thomas Wooden Railway model like D261. And I think I did a pretty good job with the details and colors. It looks just right. The face is designed by me, however, I would like to redo it because it's a little weird looking. But yeah, nothing much else to say, however, I do like him better than D261, at least his model. Old Stuck-Up. Again, he's the same design as D261 and D199 with the exceptions of the face, color, and details. The blue is slightly darker than on D199, and the details are designed to look like how he looks in the Railway series. And I think I did a pretty good job. He's definitely my favorite of the three so far. To no one's surprise, his face is from the Railway series. Yeah. But anyway, Old Stuck-Up might be my favorite of the three so far, and I love how he looks. Splatter and Dodge. Again, this was for me to avoid paying for overpriced Thomas merch. However, I wanted to design these two to look exactly how their official Thomas Wooden Railway models look, and I think I did a pretty good job. The colors are a little off, but other than that, I still love the way they look. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. Their faces are pictures of their face masks from their actual models I found online, and I really like how they look. But yeah, other than that, Splatter and Dodge, not much else to say, however, really like them. Rusty. As of today, the only narrow gauge diesel I have, but I think he probably looks the best out of all the narrow gauge engines I've made. Like a lot of the others, he's based off of his official Thomas Wooden Railway model with a few minor changes, like his actual stack. And yes, his face is from the TV series. There's nothing much to say. But yeah, I think Rusty might be my favorite besides Sir Handel of the narrow gauge engines. Unnamed diesels. Now, what I have here are 4 of some, how do I put this? Made up original characters that are just, background engines, to fill the scenes. I still like how they look though. I really like the BR blue I gave them, and I like the British Railways symbol I gave them. Their faces are also designed by me, and if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably pick the orange one. Clyde. Another original character from me. Now, he's not really based off of any diesel, but he does bear resemblance to a Class 14 diesel. And if you look at his back, he has the numbers 1018, which is actually my YouTube channel's anniversary, October 18th. And I really love how he turned out. Definitely one of my favorite diesels I've ever done. His face is designed by me, and I like how it looks. It looks more devious. Elliot. This is yet again another original character from me. He is based off of a Class 52 diesel. However, his design is more of a blue boko, if you will, with various details. His face is also designed by me, however, I would like to switch it out sometime. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing much to say about Elliot. And finally, we have Samuel. Samuel is actually an original character from my good friend, Guster Productions. He doesn't really have anything special to him, he just looks like Diesel with a British Railways crest. But I still like him. And the face is also designed by me. Really looks like he's up to no good, which suits his character. Now I'm going to take this time to shout out to Guster Productions. He's a really great guy, and I do suggest you go subscribe. And that's all the diesels. Now it's time to move on to the rolling stock. So what we have here are 4 standard trucks. These are designed in a specific way to be customizable to your imagination. They can be shortened, they can be painted in different colors, and even given faces if need be. They're also hollow on the inside, so you can store coal, ballast, or various cargo inside. A simple design, but great nonetheless. Now, we have here our two generic fuel tankers. Nothing much to say, they just look like the ones from the show, but with Sodor fuel removed from the sides. These can also be repainted into milk or oil tankers. Again, a simple but excellent design. And now we have a well wagon. This was made solely for the purpose of filming crossed lines. However, I do think I did a really good job with the design. And although it's not wide enough to carry engines like Thomas or construction vehicles like Jack, it still can hold various cargo and haul it around, which is a nice touch. Not much else to say about it. I think it's a great design, and I love how it turned out. And I believe that is everything. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps. And with that, have a great rest of your day and Happy New Year!